the next dramatic effect in my life was a man I met by the name of Mr. Earl Schoaf, who introduced me to health and nutrition as a business and a product, who introduced me to network marketing, where you could start at the bottom and go to the top. Best of all, he introduced me to the idea of personal development. And here it is. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fine. I started hearing those ideas age 25, and it revolutionized my whole life. First, I was excited about the product because my mother had studied health and nutrition all of my life. I was the beneficiary. So was my father, who lived to be 93. And then to discover it as a product and a business blew my mind. Then when I found out you could get rich with using just a few simple philosophies. Here's the first one that helped me get rich. Profits are better than wages. That changed my whole look at the economy, the look at myself, my paycheck. It was incredible. And then my sponsor said to me, Mr. Rohn, here's what you can now say. I'm working full-time on my job, and now I'm working part-time on my fortune. Those ideas drastically changed the course of my life. Guess what it did? Set for me a new attitude and philosophy. So make this note now. Philosophy determines attitude. If you have the philosophy and the attitude that here's my chance, even starting part-time, to invest in the idea of fortune making, because you can lay the foundation for fortune making. You don't have to do it 8 hours a day. You don't have to do it 10. It's not something that requires working around the clock. It just requires simply a commitment. Here's what I did. I started part-time. That's the magic. So make this note. Teach people the magic of starting to work part-time, not just to pay a few bills. That's okay. But how about the idea of working part-time fortune making? It changes everything. It changes how you talk. It changes how you invite. It changes how you treat your customers. It changes how you have respect for your distributors, laying the foundation for a career and then a fortune. It changes everything, your philosophy and your attitude. Then the idea of maximizing your part-time. Here's what I think I've discovered with those that have decided to work part-time. They've told us they were going to work 10, 15 hours a week, but here's what happens. They become part-time distributors. So I think here's what we ought to try to teach. Let's go full-time, part-time. If you're going to dedicate 10 or 15 hours, a week to the business, just fill up those hours with activity and phone calls and flyers and on the internet. It doesn't matter what you do. Start making the contacts, but fill up that 10, 15 hours. Go full-time, part-time. And the appeal to do that is strong if the appeal is, I'm not just working to pay a few bills, that's okay. I'm not just working to become financially independent, that is great. I'm working to build a career and someday a fortune. Now here's what's exciting about being part-time. It isn't long until you'll be sitting in a class taught by millionaires. It's the most extraordinary part of Herbalife's value that we can give to someone who joins. You'll soon be taught by people who've become extraordinarily successful from every walk of life that you can possibly imagine. It's worth that alone to join Herbalife, just to get in on the training, to see if it won't affect your thinking, your philosophy, your attitude, and change your life. So I met this extraordinary man, Mr. Earl Schoaf. He gave me these opening ideas for changing my life, building my business. It was absolutely incredible. Then I was a distributor for 7 years. And signing autographs one more time today reminds me of when I got my first autograph. Reminds me of when I took my first picture with somebody important and went home and started telling the story. That's why I probably linger a little longer doing the autographs than most people do, simply because I remember that first time. And I remember how important it was to me. On my trip to India, I started a program. We had some leadership classes as well as doing a seminar for the distributors and for the public. And I promised in the leadership classes that I would sign everybody's journal, not just the few who came up. But I took the time and we arranged it, and it worked like magic. A couple of rows at a time coming by. Sign, say hello, look them in the eye. Sign, say hello, look them in the eye. Everybody in the leadership classes. And the feedback has been absolutely incredible. Taking the time, because I know how important it is, those early days after I met this extraordinary man. Then let's go about 27 years ago when I'm doing this little talk and seminar in Los Angeles, California, and in my audience is a young man, 19 years old. His name is Mark Hughes. What an extraordinary day that was. From the Girl Scout story, and then to meeting Mr. Schoaf and starting to change my life, for gaining the experience that was going to serve me well all of these years, then finally meeting Mark Hughes, where I could make a deposit of my experience and life and heart and soul into something I believed in. Those were three extraordinary occasions. Then let me look back at just one more. When I first started traveling with Mark 21 years ago, I met with a group of distributors. I told them that I was an only child. I had no brothers and no sisters. And I always wanted to belong to a large family. So I asked those very first Herbalife distributors if they would adopt me into their family. They agreed to do so. So I'm now in Hawaii, not just with my friends, not just with my business associates. I'm here with my family.